Hey, Motorman here, and today I'm going to talk about the top 5 motorcycles that I enjoyed riding for 2021. This isn't the top 5 best motorcycles in the world, it's just the top 5 that I've ridden and really enjoyed, and I'll tell you why. By the way, this isn't one of them. And one more thing before I go any further. If you're not familiar with this channel, I'm a motor officer and a motor officer instructor, now retired. I teach civilians the motor officer techniques. I'm the maker of the Ride Like a Pro video. And I've got over 1,250 videos on YouTube. You could spend days binge watching them. And I also have a money back guarantee on any of my YouTube videos. If you're not satisfied, I give you your money back. And I want to also mention that Monday, November 1st, Sear, Super Sear, that's who makes this helmet, because people always ask me about where do I get these helmets at. They're from Super Sear. They fit nice and tight, they look really good, and it's probably the best half helmet money can buy. But they are having a sale November 1st. That's Monday, and they've only got 26 helmets on sale. So I think you could even go on the website now, supersear.com, and find one that you like and purchase it. But you're going to save a bunch of money. They rarely ever have sales. So now we're going to go for a ride. I'm going to talk all about the 5 motorcycles I really enjoyed riding this year. Now, I didn't put these motorcycles in any particular order, so we're going to start with BMW 1600B. This is a high-tech cruising motorcycle, or sport cruiser if you might want to call it that, because it's similar to a bagger. It's got all the luggage capacity you need. They also have a model with the tour pack on the back as well. But and yes, I've ridden the R18 models, and yes, they're baggers as well, but I didn't enjoy it near as much as this particular motorcycle. This bike has got 160 horsepower. It's got a lean angle, I believe, of 42 degrees. So that's better than any of the American cruisers, and considerably better than their R18 models. But if you like gadgets, this is the motorcycle, the touring motorcycle for you. It's got every gadget you could think of. It's got the radio and the navigation systems, an electric windshield. You name it, this bike has got it. But what I really enjoyed is the comfort of this motorcycle. If you're going to take a ride, you're going to do a 3,000-mile cross-country ride, this is the bike. In fact, it'd probably be the bike I'd choose. If they gave me a choice of you're going to ride cross country from Florida to California, this is the bike I'd take, because it rides so smooth. It's got great wind protection, handles like a sport motorcycle or a sport tourer, but yet the styling of it is very similar to what you would consider your average bagger or futuristic bagger. So I really enjoyed this motorcycle. It's going to cost you about $27,000. At the opposite end of the motorcycle spectrum, we have this motorcycle. This is the Triumph Bobber Black, and I really enjoyed this motorcycle. I had it for about 6 months and probably put, 600 or 700 miles on it, so it was a good long test. First, let me just say that I love the looks of this motorcycle. From every angle, it's just a beautiful motorcycle, especially if you like nostalgia. As far as bobbers go, there's plenty of bobbers on the market. Harley-Davidson has at least 4 or 5 bobber models, but this is the one that's most reminiscent of what people did with after World War II. They got motorcycles, usually big Harleys, some Indians, and they bopped them. They cut the fenders. They tried to take as much weight as possible off the motorcycle. And I think Triumph did the best styling job possible with this bike. But it's not just all about style with this motorcycle. It is a great riding bike as far as fun to ride. I mean, if you got a scale of 1 to 10, I got to say this bike is a 9.5 or a 10. A lot of fun to ride, very smooth. By the way, I added this windshield on it. This is from National Cycle. And by the way, go ahead and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I want to tell you, it's got a smooth motor, powerful bike. I think it's 76 or 78 horsepower, and on a bike that weighs just under 500 pounds, believe me, that's all you need. It's plenty fast, extremely smooth motor. I've had a few Triumphs before, late model Triumphs. I'm talking about 2010 or 2012, and the parallel twin, I always felt some vibration coming through on the hand grips, especially, that after about an hour riding, I'd get a little tingling in my hands, but that never happened on this bike. So they've smoothed out that parallel twin. They've made it more powerful. It's got a 6-speed transmission, so you can cruise at 80 miles an hour, no problem at all. Plenty of power, all the power you'll ever need. Handles beautifully. It's got that wide front tire on it, and that's supposed to be a detriment to handling, but I never found that to be the case. It looks great, it handles great, and this, by the way, is an around town motorcycle. You're not going to take this on a 500-mile trip. So they do make bags for it, but that's not what this bike is for. You want to just have a lot of fun and riding around town wherever you go, bar to bar, whatever you do around town, commuting, etc. This is a great motorcycle that looks great. Riding position is very comfortable. I did put risers on this bike. I think they were 1.5 inch pullback risers, but they didn't do very much as far as comfort. This is a bike in about an hour or so you want to get off of it, and you're going to probably have to fill it up with gas because it's only got, I think it's a 2.5 gallon tank, good for just about 100 miles. But as far as fun goes, that's what this bike is all about. You'll enjoy riding it. Great handling motorcycle, and I really don't have a bad word to say about it. Just don't think that this is something you're gonna get on and ride cross country, because the seat is comfortable around town, but an hour is about all that I could take of it. Now let's talk about the Electroglide Revival. I like this bike so much I've actually got 2 of them, and I know I put up a video showing that my wife bought the bike for me, and I was mad because she didn't tell me about it, and then I told her that I actually bought one myself. So now we got 2 of them, and in the video it made it look like I was angry with her, but of course we made that up, and I even put a disclaimer on the video so people wouldn't get mad at me, and we were just putting them on, but I guess nobody read the disclaimer because I got a lot of grief over that. Now, really, nobody would be mad if their wife bought them a Harley-Davidson Revival. There's only 1,500 of them made. I love the looks of it. That's mainly the reason I bought this bike. I have 2 other Electroglides, but I like the white wall tires and the spoke wheels, and the nostalgic look. They did a great job of styling on this bike. It is typical Electroglide. If you like the Electroglide or the Street Glide Special, that's basically what this motorcycle is. It's got the 114 motor, plenty of power, lots of torque, extremely smooth, and it also has the touches of the 1969 look. Just 1,500 of them made, and what happened was I called up a dealer. I usually buy motorcycles from Gator Harley-Davidson. They said, well, we got one coming in, but it's sold. So I called my local dealer, Newport Richie. They said, we got one coming in, and it's not sold. So I said, okay, I want it. 2 days later, Gator calls me up and says, the guy backed out. If you still want the bike, it's yours. So I talked to my wife. I said, I think maybe getting 2 of these. We have one for riding every day or whenever we want to take it for a ride, and the other one we can keep in a year or 2, just flip the bike and at least get our money back and maybe make some money on it. So she agreed, and that's how we wound up with 2 of these motorcycles. There really was no surprise deal, and I guess we're better actors than we thought we were, because people were actually believing that I was mad at my wife or that I wasn't happy enough when she told me she bought it for me. But that's the true story, and if I offended anybody, I apologize. But I love this motorcycle, love to ride it at least 3-4 times a week. It is typical Harley-Davidson, smooth, powerful, great bike. Another bike I really enjoyed was the Goldwing. Now, I did mention this motorcycle in a video I did about, I think, the 5 most difficult motorcycles to handle at low speeds, the video was called. And I got hate mail like you wouldn't believe. Death threats, literally death threats, from people telling me that I'm a Harley fanboy and that's why I hate Goldwing. No, I was stating a fact. This is not the easiest motorcycle to handle at low speeds. If that's your main concern, or if you're going to buy a DCT wing because you're not good at really using the clutch and throttle and you think it's going to be easier, it's not. It's more difficult with the DCT wing. But anyway, just let me say, I've owned 3 Goldwings through the years. They're a terrific motorcycle, especially for long distance riding. It's just that low speed handling, though they got about a 40-degree lean angle, you really got to practice a lot harder than you would, say, on an average Harley-Davidson touring bike, because it's got a longer wheelbase, it's got a sensitive throttle. It takes longer to become really skilled at riding this bike at low speeds. But at high speeds or any other type riding, it's fantastic. I rate this up there with the BMW. This would probably be my second choice to take cross country. only because I like the BMW styling just a little bit more. As far as practicality goes, yeah, it would be less expensive to maintain a Goldwing than it would the BMW, and there's a lot more Honda dealers. But the Goldwing is a terrific bike. I really enjoyed riding it. I mean, if I lived up probably in the mountains where there's a lot of winding roads, I'd have at least one of these in my garage. Last but not least of the motorcycles I really enjoyed riding in 2021 is the new Sportster S. Now, I get a lot of people, whenever I ride a Sportster and do a review on it, we get the usual Harley haters. I can't figure that out. If you don't like Harleys, nobody's forcing you to buy one. Why do you even watch my review of it if you don't like it? But I like the Sportster S. I like the styling of it, and I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I happen to like it. It's nothing like the other Sportsters that have come through the years from, I think, 1958 until this past year. It's an all-new motor, it's an all-new motorcycle, and it's a completely different ride from Sportster's past. In fact, it's completely different from anything Harley's ever made. But it is a bike that weighs about 500 pounds. It's got 120 horsepower. It's a smooth, powerful motor, handles beautifully. And, you know, if you're looking for an around-town bike or just a fun bike to have, this is a terrific motorcycle. And I heard a lot of people complaining about the sound of the exhaust. And they said, I would never buy it just because it sounds like something between a Briggs & Stratton and a sewing machine. Listen, what you're hearing through your speakers is coming from my microphone, which is mounted inside a full-face helmet under the cheek pad. And then you've got the wind noise. Plus, when I edit these videos, I add quite a bit of highs to it because with the face shield down, my voice sounds a little bit muffled. So I add some highs and a little bit of mid-range, so you're not getting a true sound of the motorcycle. But to be honest with you, I didn't even notice the sound of it. It's not something I even, stood out in my mind because it's such a fun motorcycle to ride, handles beautifully. And of course, the first thing people do when they buy a new Harley is they change the exhaust. You put a loud exhaust on it. That's what like 95% of the people do. So if you don't like the sound of it, change the exhaust. But it is a great motorcycle. I think it's going to help Harley-Davidson in the future, and you definitely should take one for a ride. This is an around-town bike or just a fun bike to ride. It's not a touring motorcycle. No Sportster I know of it has ever been a touring motorcycle, and it's something between, I would say, a naked sport bike and a cruiser, maybe a sport cruiser it should be called. But I like the direction that Harley took this motorcycle, and I think if you ride it and that's your goal, just to have fun riding a motorcycle for short hops, this is a perfect bike for that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but this is about the 5 bikes that I rode that I really enjoyed in 2021. It's not about all the motorcycles in the world, because I didn't ride all the motorcycles in the world. This is just about the ones I rode. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Until next time.